Good morning. Right, today I am taking you on a vloggy journey because I've got work to do and I don't have time to sit down and make a separate video. But in all fairness, this is kind of the stuff that I want to make. So look at this. I am double hooping at the moment. Two projects on the go. This is the one that we're going to be working on today. Because one, I've got to finish it. I'm going to be selling it, and my hair apparently, as a finished hoop in the shop, but I'm also going to be selling it as a kit that, well, the idea is that you can make it, you can stitch it up for your mum and then give your mum the finished hoop, because for goodness sake, because us mums are a sentimental bunch. So I'm going to share some behind the scenes of me making one of my new products, but I'm also later on going to be talking about how I come up with new products. So yes, stick around if you want to talk about coming up with new product ideas that actually sell. Right, so you just saw me trying to film the tutorial that's going to go with this kit, and my setup is not a good one. So I'm getting a bit tired of being stood up and hunched over it. So I've decided that what I'm going to do instead is stitch it up normally. I'll watch a bit of Critical Role on YouTube while I'm doing it. And then what I'm going to do for the tutorial is simply, it will just be a step-by-step with the relevant stitches rather than stitching the actual thing. Because I can't stand up the entire time. This has got to be the biggest challenge that I've found in my business, is trying to find a decent setup for filming stitching tutorials and stuff, because I need natural light. I need to be able to see what I'm doing, and preferably I need to be able to sit down, because if I'm standing up, my back starts to hurt from being hunched over. So at some point I'm going to have to figure that one out. But for now, I'm going to make myself a coffee and I'm going to get myself all cozy, and then I'm going to stitch and watch Critical Role, which is one of my favourite things to do. So not a bad job if you can get it. And then the bonus is that despite the fact that it's raining, I can watch little birds outside. Right now, coffee. That was just my cat and my dog chilling in the same room as one another. It's lovely to see, because for a long time they didn't get on. I'm hungry, so soup. Time for some soup. And I'll reply to some messages and emails, and then we'll have a little chat about coming up with new product ideas and how I do it, because I'm always curious to know how other people come up with theirs. So I thought maybe you'd like to know how I come up with mine. And if you don't, tough, it's what I'm talking about. But lunchtime first. Okay, we are back and we're going to talk about coming up with new products, because when you do so, preferably you want to come up with ones that sell. Otherwise, that's a whole lot of your time that's just been wasted. And I've got myself another coffee, because although it's been a hot second since I got the last one in this video, it is actually coming up to 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. So it seems to be one of those days where it feels like I've been constantly doing something and achieved not much. Okay, well, when I'm coming up with new products personally, the first thing that I tend to do is sit down with a calendar, or I just write a list of the months, and I'm trying to get an idea of which events that I can make products for in the first place. So you've got from January to December, you've got a list of all sorts of things that are happening. You've got New Year's, Valentine's, Mother's Day, Easter, spring, the change of seasons. They're not necessarily holidays or events as such, but they're certainly something that, you can make use of when you're thinking of your products. But what is important to state is that although you can end up with a whole list of things that happen, you're only going to weed out the ones that work for you. And this will come with time, I've found, because at the beginning of my business, I was making products for pretty much anything. I mean, if there was a National Donut Day, I was trying to make something for that. Not everything is worth your time and energy. So the first thing that I do now is to weed out the things that don't work for me. So for example, Mother's Day works, so it goes into the list. Father's Day doesn't. So sorry, dads, but you're out. So the first thing is to come up with a calendar and a list of all the events that I can think of that might work in that calendar year. And then the second thing is to go through and weed some out, because only a few of them are going to be worth your time and your energy. And you've also got to think time-wise what you can conceivably do. So if you're going to go, I'm going to do all of the events, I'm going to have something for all of the things, you're going to be running around like a headless chicken, which is not a nice metaphor to use, but you know what I mean. You're going to not feel great. So once you've identified your seasonal yearly events, you want to come up with some products that would work well for each event. And then the third thing I do is that I try to come up with a product that would work for at least one of those events, but could also sell at any other time of year too, so try to make it a little bit more evergreen. So if we take, for example, my Mother's Day kits that I'm working on, because I haven't got Happy Mother's Day on these or anything, yes, they're going to peak, I think, around Mother's Day, but I love you, Mum. I mean, you can say that at any time of year. So if anybody is looking for a birthday gift for their mum, or they just want to buy something for their mum at any time of the year, they could theoretically buy this year round, which makes it more evergreen. And then the last bit is that we come to the, I call it the hole poking. When you hold something up to the light and you're looking for the holes and you're pulling on the threads and you're trying to see how much it stands up to a little bit of abuse. And I've had to write down some of these questions that I ask myself because I have a memory like a sieve. Would it make a good gift? I've spoken in my previous video about how one of my goals for this year is to concentrate on making products that would make a good gift, and to add personalization to a few of them if I can. This is important because we're going through a recession here in the UK. It's going to be a short one, we hope. I don't want to jinx things, but this year is going to be a tricky one. And when people have less money to spend, while they don't stop spending, they do tend to spend more on loved ones and friends. And it's usually gift giving during times like birthdays and the events that we've spoken about, Mother's Day. So to future-proof my business, I am focusing on this as a starting point. And of course, items can be made so that they can be bought by the individual for the individual as well. But I want to make sure that my products do tend, for the most part at least, to hold up as being a good gift. Because I have noticed that tends to be the ingredient that makes a product longer life. And I'm done chasing trends. I tried that a few years ago. It's exhausting. Another question is, can it be personalized? Now, I don't want to personalize everything I do because everything I do takes a bloody long time. So if I was personalizing everything, I would never get anything else done. A couple of things can be personalized, however, but I like to look at products and think, if I chose to not add personalization right away, could I theoretically add it in the future should I want to? Because again, like gifting, personalization it's a bit of a secret sauce, and it can really help take your products to the next level and just help them stand out and really bring in those sales if that's what's important to you. Does it take long to make? Well, I mean, again, they all take a fair amount of time to make. But I mean, I have to ask myself, if I'm going to make this again and again, or if I'm going to have to make this again and again, can I realistically do that without just holding myself up in my office forever? If it takes too long and I can't justify increasing the price accordingly, that's an immediate no. It doesn't matter how good the product idea is, it's an immediate no. This next question is a trickier one to answer. Will people actually be searching for this thing? I've found that to be an easier question to answer as the years have gone by and I've got more experience under my belt. In the past, a lot of the things that I thought would do really well didn't, and it's kind of going through that process again and again. I've started to get a better handle on what people might actually be genuinely searching for. And spoiler alert, it does tend to be a lot more mundane than I think a lot of creators would like. We like to make things that we like. And a lot of the time we focus too much on that and less on what our customers actually want, because what our customers actually want isn't necessarily going to align with what we want to make. That sucks. And there is a compromise to be made there. You can make the bells and whistles that you like, but if you want to pay the bills with your business, you are at some point going to have to do a little bit of people pleasing. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah, that was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn in my business, but a golden one. But yes, being brutally honest with myself about whether or not people will be online looking for the thing that I'm thinking about making, that's key. And one part of that is to ask the next question, which is, could somebody find something similar on the high street? Because again, if they could, that is another automatic no, because you cannot compete with a high street. Coupled to that, I want to be thinking about what else that I can do to something to make it unique, because obviously I am going to have competition from others online, especially if you're selling on another platform like Amazon, eBay or Etsy. You are going to be up against other people that do similar things, so you're going to have to find ways to stand out from them. So that's another question I ask myself, and I try and brainstorm ways that I can make my items different. And that is pretty much what I do with every product. I know that sounds very vague, but this is what I do, and I have found I've gotten better and better at it as the years go on. I personally am always trying to push myself to not get stuck on any one thing or constantly keep trying the thing that works, but to keep experimenting, keep on playing and trying new things. Because even if you do hit on a Ferrari style product, it's got a shelf life. And if you're lucky to get 2 years out of that thing, you've done really well with it. You do have to be constantly trying new things. Don't be afraid to try new things. Know that some of those things are not going to stick, but you will learn something so freaking precious from each and every single mistake. Mistakes are golden. Embrace the mistakes. I do. If you've got to this far in the video, thank you. I appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, this is the sort of video that I'm hoping to make going forward. I'm a little bit rusty with the whole vlogging process, so I hope to get a bit better with the whole storytelling. My aim was to make it entertaining but also give you value at the same time, but I feel like it's a bit clunky. It'll get better. And if you have any suggestions for future topics or anything that you would like to see me cover or do, as always, drop me a comment. If for no other reason than I just like to chat, and I'm always looking for a distraction from something. So come chat. I will see you next week, hopefully. Ta-ra!